And then, of course, there's whatever happens in reality, because what we can plan is only what we hope will happen or what we think is going to happen. But then reality hits, and that's often quite different, especially when we're monitoring, we're watching what's happening. And, planning is about looking forwards, whereas monitoring is then saying, well, okay, how are we doing? How is it going? Is it going how we expected? How are we doing? Are we on target? And what can we do if we're not on target? What are we going to do about it? So yeah, if you remember, we set out these sort of indicators with quality, quantity, and cost to help us identify, as we're going along our journey, are we sticking to our targets? What are the targets initially, and then, are we meeting them? And of course, there's always going to be a bit of difference. We planned 15 workshops, but in fact, we're half of the way through the year and we've only managed 4 of them. And so, you can argue there's some variance there. There's a difference between what we planned and what's actually happening. And that's it's okay. Our plans are not totally inflexible commitments that we cannot change. No, plans are plans. They're intentions of what we're doing. And some things we are more committed to and other things we have a bit more flexibility in. But the fact is, stuff happens. And so whilst we might have a number of planned activities and we have a budget that goes along with those planned activities, so there's going to be a budgeted rate of income and expenditure. But then there's what actually happens, because this was planned activities, but here is actually achieved activities and an actual record of income and expenditure. And, there are some relationships here which can help us as managers to know if the work is being done effectively or not. So let's work through some of those differences. That we can be looking at the various achievements that we've managed. Planned activities. Some of those plans are going to have indicators written against them that are in terms of quantity. 6 workshops, 150 patients seen, etc. That's quantity. Quality indicators. Did we hit this standard target that we were aiming for? Was everybody seen within 24 hours of their registering? Or at the end of the workshop, did people score at least 5 points higher than when they started the workshop? There's quality indicators in there, and there's obviously going to be cost indicators as well. How much did each workshop cost per head of participants that was there? Did we receive the income that we were expecting as a result of the fundraising campaign that we carried out, etc. There's going to be different kinds of indicators that we can look to, but it's going to bring us back to this one where we want to check some of these ratios and relationships that are going on. For example, the activity and finance variance should be still in about the same proportions as the original rate. For example, if we did a half as many trainings as we had anticipated, but the financial expenditure was 3/4 what we had anticipated, something's wrong. Or if we achieved 1/3 of what we hoped to achieve, but our finances were only 1/4 of what we had anticipated, something might need investigating. So you can look at that ratio and compare it to this ratio. You can also look at ratios this way and this way to look at the activity variance compared to the financial variance. You know, if the budgeted and actual rates of income and expenditure, they should be approximately in the same sort of proportions as the activities have changed in variance. Another way of looking at this would be to say, well, any time where there is either an activity variance or a financial variance that is, I don't know, greater than, let's say, 10%, then it should be investigated. Or if there is a financial implication that is greater than, I don't know, 10,000 rupees, then that's something that needs to be investigated. But if something is only 2% different, or it's only like 4,000 rupees different, we don't need to spend management's time investigating it. So, you know, you can put in sort of cut-off points so that you know what you do and don't need to investigate as a management team. But of course, the point of investigating all of this is then to say, well, okay, here we found something that is off. It's not what we were expecting. What are you going to do about it? You know, you should never ask a question unless you plan to do something with the answer. So monitoring should be all about what can you then do to adjust your activities, either in terms of quantity, quality, or cost. And the changes that are brought about need to line up with what you've discovered in your monitoring. So, you know, if you find that you're falling behind, it needs to trigger, we need more action on this particular activity in order to bring us back up so that we're still on target for reaching the same end goal. So that's all about the monitoring side of this and our various quality, quantity and cost indicators. And monitoring is still about trying to assess where are we at, how are we doing. It's still forward looking. But if you remember in the planning cycle, you had three major phases, didn't we? There was making plans, then there was doing things and monitoring them. And then after the project is completed, there is the process of looking backwards and evaluating where have we come from? Where have we gotten to? How did that go? And so evaluation tends to be a backwards looking process to say, have we achieved, past tense, have we done what we set out to do? Why do we do these sort of evaluations? Well, a number of reasons. One is that sometimes it's important to report back because it builds confidence. You know, it could be that you're reporting back to your staff and saying, hey guys, all the effort that we've put in, see what this has achieved. It could be that we're reporting back to investors and saying, you gave us a whole bunch of money to do stuff, here is what we did with it. And by reporting to them, they may say, hey, that's really good. We'd like to give you some more money for the next year, maybe. But it's about building confidence. It could be that we're wanting to build confidence with the beneficiaries. We said, you know, we set out to achieve this with you, and together we did achieve this. Of course, evaluations can also be about trying to learn lessons because things don't always go quite according to plan. And so by recording how things did go, what did we plan? What did we actually achieve? How did it go? We can learn lessons from all of that, which can be useful for the next project that we might run. Actually, evaluations also give a chance for celebrating and giving thanks and saying, well done, look what we've achieved. Giving glory to God, maybe, or giving thanks to investors who have been a part of it, giving thanks to beneficiaries who have been a part of the process, and celebrating together, whether it's the team celebrating or celebrating with the beneficiaries and saying, look guys, there was this issue and we have changed the situation. Isn't this great? Celebrating is an important thing. Don't let that just slip by. You know, saying thank you is important, and it helps people motivationally, next time they're more likely to get involved in something where they know that there is a celebration at the end, that we did it, we actually achieved it, and we can be happy about that. So it is important to plan, to monitor, and to evaluate at the end to see how we have done.